Hey guys, so something I've wanted to do for a long time is make some kind of Deftones-y, shoegazy metal kind of beats. And this year I finally started making some. They sound like this. So those are the ones I've made so far. Today I'm challenging myself to make a completely new one out of nothing. I have no ideas. What I do have is I've imported some of the guitar sounds and drum sounds and stuff from previous Deftones beats that I made this year. So for example, this is the left and right guitars. We've got that as a main sound. I've got a background left and right guitar, which is like the same thing but changed a little. Then we got clean guitars, guitar effects, bass guitar. So as far as sounds, I've got like a bass there to work from. But as far as what I've written, I have nothing. I just know that I want it to sound like Deftones. I have no tempo, no key, nothing in mind. Although this guitar is in drop C, so I'd say let's use that as a start. Obviously Deftones in the last like 10, 15 years, whatever, have been using super low tunings, but earlier Deftones stuff is like around drop D, drop C, so let's see what we can get with that for now at least. Let me actually just program some drums. The drums that I'm using, you guys know by now. Anything rock, I always just use the Get Good Drums metal kit. These guys should really be paying me by now, because it's in like everything I do. So let's just start with something super simple. I definitely want to crash. I definitely want to start on a crash. I want something big. Maybe 100 beats per minute. 107 beats per minute. Dun, 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 dun. Let's do another crash there. For now, that'll do for drums. No fills or anything, just a very Deftones influenced beat. Yeah, and there's barely any processing on this. This is just because I imported the drum track from my previous Deftones beat. So there's a clipper on it, and then I just pulled some mids out, but maybe I want some reverb. Oh, there's reverb in here. Alright, that's sounding like Deftones. For now, that will do. These guitar sounds, I know it looks complicated, but it's basically a left and a right. If I get rid of all these guys, it's just a pretty standard rock sound. Kind of like a Queens of the Stone Age, like mid-rangey. It's a good song. Happens to be in drop C. So it's basically just this kind of standard metal. I'm just using like, this is a free amp. Sounds good. I'm doing a bunch of EQ and stuff, but it's basically just that amp. And then on the right, I'm using this stock Cubase amp, which is actually a really good one. And then I just have some kind of fizzier high-end tracks that are just taking care of some high-end. So yeah, 6 tracks, but it's 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and basically a main one and then 2 kind of super distorted ones to give you that. That's actually a good trick for Deftones kind of stuff. Get a good solid rock tone so you got the powerful mid-range there and everything, and then make a separate track. This is always what I do for like shoegazy stuff. Make a separate track, kind of a distortion track where you're just handling the high-end, distorting the hell out of it, and EQing it, like notching it all out so that it sounds like good distortion, because that's the real challenge. You know, if it's shoegazy, you probably are going to want a lot of distortion, and distortion is the hardest thing to get to sound right. All right, so let's just riff on this for a bit, see what we can find. Like I said, I'm in drop C tuning. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I do know that Deftones use a lot of seconds, so kind of a power chord with a second on top, and sometimes like a third on top of that as well. Start with that. Oh my god. Deftones chords just never get boring. I could just live in a Deftones chord. Right, let's see what we can get. Maybe start with like a clean thing. I'm just gonna see what this sounds like putting it on the background tracks. So these are basically the metal guitar track. I duplicated the main one for the left and right and made it just kind of like mid-rangey and background. Yes. Wasn't I literally just saying what Deftones chords are? But yeah, so I kind of wrote that idea in the middle of saying basically suspended chords, because the whole idea of a suspended chord is it's suspended. It's kind of in the air. It's not major, it's not minor. It's traditionally you use them as like a passing chord. So it's kind of like you go from a major chord, suspended chord, and then a minor chord, and it just gives you this interesting vibe on the way to the next chord. The reason Deftones sound so cool, one of the main reasons, is because they just leave you there. It's suspended and it stays there, which is why it feels so dreamy and so like up in the air, because it really is. It never resolves, it just stays in this kind of spacey atmosphere. That's at least the way I understand them. What I'm actually going to do is make a new track with the drums, and let's make it like an intro drum sound. So kind of roll off some of the highs and roll off the lows as well, and put some more reverb, just a basic reverb will do. Let's take away the pre-delay. Can get kind of messy if we want. Pull that back a bit. Yes, reverb. There's your other tip. If you're going for Deftones, you want suspended chords with reverb. All these guitar tracks are going to a group that's basically a bunch of random EQs and reverb. So this is a cool intro, but let's see where we can take this, because I don't want to just repeat that. But let's see if we can do something interesting with the heavy guitars when it kind of drops. Bam, 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 bam. What's that? Root fifth, minor seventh, and second. Okay, let's just go with the trusty old major third. When you're doing something like this, I often find I just end up going to like the major third. I think that's what I'm going to do right now, because I could do these crazy chords that I was doing. It just doesn't sound as cool as it could. So right now I'm thinking like this. So we'll make it like a power chord with a second, fifth again, and then fifth again. Try laying that down, see how it works. Chords like this sound so slow and easy, but so precise. Alright, that's not the best playing of all time, but if I need to perfect that later on, that's fine. So let's double that. I feel like this sounds good. I mean, it's simple. Well, yeah, it sounds simple, but that is another Deftones tip for you. Def is such a great guitarist, and he cannot play solos. He can't shred, but his sound is so cool. Like people talk about finger tone, and it's a real thing. Like he has such a specific sound, and he also is just such a good songwriter because he knows how to be simplistic without, it's like he doesn't care if he's impressing you, he just cares if he's moving you. And God, he is so good at that. He's so good at making atmospheres and evoking emotions. Just find the chords that take you somewhere else, because that's what he does. Do not overcomplicate it. Just find what works, find what gives you that vibe, and use it. I'm gonna try and get some guitar effects on top of this riff. Let's see what we can do. Tip number 5, turn up your guitar before you record. Yeah, again with this, it's like I kind of want to come up with a catchy melody, but that's not really what Steph does. He doesn't focus on catchy, he focuses on emotion, and it just needs kind of an atmosphere there. This is a crazy guitar effects track that I always use. It's got pitching, it's got chorus, distortion, reverb, delay. Pretty standard, but it's a cool sound. A lot of chorus, that's the main thing. A lot of distortion and a lot of chorus. That's the main thing that gives it this huge, huge sound. What the fuck was I playing? It sounded good. Oh yeah, kind of like that. This thing sounds cool, so I'm going to keep rolling with that in the verse. Yeah, I definitely want to make those drums a little more crazy as well in a minute. Let's get some bass. Again, bunch of bass tracks. They're all basically the same. Okay, that sounds good for bass. This third track is like the ridiculous one. Horrible, but it sounds good in a mix. Whereas these other two just actually sound like a normal bass guitar. So I'll use those in the intro, and then we'll see what we can do in this kind of chorus, I guess. All right, let's try some synths. Okay, so for this I have, oh yeah, for bass, that was mainly Okay, so we've got this Mark bass thing, which is awesome, with dark glass for distortion, temper as well for a little more grit, and then a ton of EQ just to get it to sit right. Same kind of thing on the other track, but we've got BOD, which is Sansamp bass driver, legendary bass pedal, and then this, which I love, Cerberus bass amp. But yeah, synth, this is Vital, recently discovered it and it's so good. So that verse part, would that be E minor? F minor? Okay, so, well, instead of an F, how about we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we'll start from the 5th and then F minor. Yes, 2nd. That's going to sound like Deftones. Let's just try that, just a 5th. Alright guys, I'm going to make these drums in the chorus a little more tasty, and then I'll kind of mix it, finish it off, and show you guys what it sounds like finished. Alright guys, it's the next day. I finished this thing last night. Initially I just put some drum fills in and a couple of guitar lines on top to make it more interesting, but I ended up getting like a surge of inspiration and throwing this like outro thing on. I wish I'd filmed it when I was making it because it just came together so quickly, and in my opinion it's by far the coolest part of the song. You guys will hear it in a second, so you can let me know what you think. But yeah, this turned out really cool in my opinion. I think it's the best beat in this style that I've made. So I'm going to show you guys from the second verse because it basically repeats, and then you'll hear that outro part at the end. It's so cool. All right, so I'll show you guys how it sounds now. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what other sounds you guys want to hear me dive into next. And yeah, if anyone wants the beat, that'll be below. Everything will be below, so check out the links. I'm always looking for artists to work with, so hit me up. All right, here's how it sounds.